everyone in my speech and communications class. I'm Haley Starkey, and I'm here to talk to you guys today about the age-old question of bottled versus tap water. So which one's better? So hopefully by the end of my speech, you'll be able to better understand what suits you better, what the differences between bottled and tap water are. So getting into it, bottled water is a necessity. So first, I would like you guys all to go and get a glass of nice cold water and just like shut your eyes and just take a nice long sip of your water. I have a water bottle right here. So, by doing this, I just want you to like really get a taste of water. And I know many people say water doesn't have a taste, but I'm here to debunk that. So, um, water is essential for life, and people cannot just live without water because in order to live on Earth, your body is about 70% of water. So, my three main points are while bottled water companies may be scamming customers for profit, and their water isn't any cleaner than actual tap water. So, however, they can still be a viable option in areas where there's water contamination in the tap water or the water in general is just not very clean. So, getting into it, bottled water is scamming their companies. Their companies are scamming their customers for profit. So, water is essential for life, as I said earlier, and many of these bottled water companies are taking advantage of these situations. So a person can't live without water. However, in order to have water, they need to pay a hefty $5 in some places for just a plain water bottle. Even though it is a necessity, it's kind of like, well, everyone's breathing air, but you don't pay to breathe air, stuff like that. So bottled water also adds unnecessary claims. As you can see, some bottled water claims to be gluten-free and diet water, but all water is gluten-free. There's no additives like wheat or anything in that aspect that would have to add stuff like that. So bottled water is also not any purer than tap water or like water from your kitchen sink. So bottled water has to be bottled from an FDA approved factory. So what that means is not anyone can just go out and bottle water. It has to be done in a certain place, and it has to be under a certain amount of supervision. So the FDA approves the quality and purity standards for all bottled water to be sold to customers. So it is clean, but it's not any cleaner than tap water would be, because tap water is also monitored consistently by the factories and everything that go through the cleaning processes of it. So the tap water is consistently being regulated for purity standards as well, like I just said, and it has to be met with minerals also being added. So I live in Rockford, so I have Rockford City Water, and I know Rockford City Water is a hit or a miss. I love it. And so what that means is they add certain minerals like fluoride and a little bit of chlorine and stuff like that to keep the water clean and to also help our bodies as well. So they put fluoride in our water to help with our teeth. So when you're in a low income place, maybe that's a definite benefit of having that city water, but some places also have well water. So well water is a little different. Bottled water also doesn't have as many regulations for purity as tap water. So in the 2019 article, Fancy Bottled Drinking Water is Nonsense by Timothy Caulfield, the study found from Canada, for example, found that 70% of the tested bottled water brands contained high levels of bacteria and generally had more bacteria than tap water. So what this means is, yes, even though it is under an FDA-inspected factory for quality and purity standards, it still sometimes just doesn't reach the purity of tap water. So going on to the next point, a pro of bottled water, I could say, is that many perceived for it to be tasteless, which is pretty nice. Like I said, I personally think that tap water has a better taste than bottled water, or most bottled waters, but that's just because I also grew up drinking the Rockford City tap water, so I'm more accustomed to the taste, I guess. But bottled water is also softer than tap water. So what this means is that bottled water contains less harsh minerals as tap water, making it tasteless and more appealing to customers. So like when you get the Springs brand of water, like the purified water and stuff like that, it doesn't have the added minerals as tap water does. So it also makes it softer tasting, or it has a softer taste. So both tap and bottled water met the World Health Organization's, or WHO, guidelines for the pH and total dissolved solids of chloride, copper, sodium, sulfate, and nitrate. And this was also in a study of tap water versus bottled water in Kampala, Uganda. So the empty taste of bottled water can also be preferred by customers. Like I said, many say that tap water is better than bottled water, or many say that bottled water has a better taste than tap water because of the minerals and stuff that they put in tap water. So according to the article Tap versus Bottled Water, written by Uthia and Matabwa, in their study, they found that 28.8%, 6.06%, and 13.64% of the 142 respondents in their survey indicated that they believed that their bottled water had better taste, color, and smell of bottled water instead of tap water. So what this can go into is that many low-income areas also only trust bottled water as their supply of H2O. So an example of this in real life right now is Flint, Michigan has had contaminated water supply where their entire town survives off of bottled water. There's absolutely no tap water that is being used. As you can see in the photo, that's the Michigan water that they've had in their community, and it's absolutely disgusting. So this is an example of where tap water is just not a viable option, and bottled water is pretty much the only way that they're going to be able to get this essential for their everyday. And this is showering, this is drinking water, this is everything, cooking water. So in an article for the reasons why low-income people in the urban areas do not drink tap water is because fluorinated tap water has a beneficial source of water for low-income areas. However, a lot of low-income areas also mistrust the quality of their water, which has forced these areas to buy expensive bottled alternatives. And this isn't necessarily an example going back to Flynn, just because Flynn's tap water supply is completely non-drinkable, but this goes to like low-income areas, like if you're low-income area in Rockford or low-income area in Chicago, where the tap water is up to standards and you just don't trust it. So wrapping it up, while bottled water companies may be scamming customers for profit, their water is not any cleaner than tap water. Although it is tasteless or maybe perceived as tasteless, it can be a viable option for water in areas while water contamination is very possible. So I hope this helped you understand a little bit misconceptions about bottled or tap water. You may already have a preference, but like I said, I personally love drinking tap water. Bottled water isn't really my thing. Bottled water also pollutes the land that we live in. A lot of it doesn't get recycled properly and it goes into wasteland, so using tap water, like reusable resources, really helps as well. And as you can see, 40% of Americans think it's safer than tap water. Bottled water, 64% of it is just filtered tap water anyway. So you're still drinking tap water, but you're having to pay more for it, and it's polluting our earth. So yeah, thank you so much.